Hello and welcome back, Realty Pros, to another Realty Talk. We are here with our beautiful broker, Jasmine Porter, who is going to be sharing with us today. And so we'll go ahead and we will turn it over to you, Miss Porter.
Good afternoon, Realty Pros, and thank you so much for the warm welcome, Anita. She's our resident supermodel there. So just wanted to throw that right back at you. But we are excited today, guys. I'm excited to hear about just the icebreaker. And it really goes hand in hand with a part of our conversation for today. We're talking about giving. We're talking about opportunities to be of service and how your business can be blessed just as a result of that. So today we're continuing with the conversation from last week when we just began to delve into luxury listings, and we're going to talk about prospecting for those luxury listings and luxury clients today. So I'm very excited to be able to just go on this journey with you guys. Can anybody tell me kind of what one of your thoughts was from the conversation that we began last week? If you want to take yourself off mute and share. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and continue. All right. So just to begin today, we are on BrightMLS, and I just want to kind of share with you guys how to jump straight into this luxury listing piece to go ahead and familiarize yourselves, because the goal is to have you to level up, to have every last Realty Pro to level up in your thinking, level up in just what your expectations are, level up in terms of what your abilities are, because you have the absolute ability to market, to list, to sell, to help any of these clients with all of these properties. And you are more than able, more than capable to do any of these things. So I just want to help us to see what opportunities are in front of us, and we'll talk through exactly what we need to do in order to get there. Okay. So you might say, okay, Mrs. Porter, you're talking about, luxury listings and helping clients buy multi-million-dollar properties. Where do I begin? We began last week. We started talking about some listings, and we started looking at listings last week. If you guys recall, we started out looking at a listing that was $30 million, and we looked at one very briefly that was $50 million. And I love the feedback that you guys got. And that was exactly what the goal was of that training, to get you to the point where you're getting over being uncomfortable. So today is going to be no different, but we will continue that conversation. And just for the sake of familiarity, I'm going to begin in areas that I know that everybody on this line is familiar with. I'm going to begin simply by going to BrightMLS and typing in two counties. So that is Montgomery County and Prince George's County. Everybody on the line is familiar with these counties, and let's just see what they yield in terms of million-dollar listings. So I've gone down to price on the right-hand side, and I simply put what it looks like it's only 1,000, but because this 100,000s button is already indicated, this equates to 1 million plus, okay? So we're just going to look at active, and we're going to look at coming soon, million plus, and Prince George's County or Montgomery County, all right? And there are some very important insights that I won't just give away. I'm going to have us to take a look at a few things and see if you guys can see the big picture from here. All right. Let's hit our results. And here we are. So just within Prince George's County alone and Montgomery County, there are 344 listings of $1 million or above. Okay. So I'm going to arrange this in terms of price. And there you are. So from 34,900,000 all the way down to $1 million, these are 344 listings right here. I'm excited because I heard you guys talking about prospecting. On that icebreaker question, I heard Darlene talking about videoing, and all of those are going to tie into our training for today. So just like we did last week, we're going to dive right in, take a look at one of these properties, as the goal is to make sure that you guys are comfortable, familiar with this information, you're used to looking at mansions, multi-million-dollar listings. You go up to those properties, you tour them, you do previews, you walk through, you learn what those features and details and remarks and things are. That way, when you have a client for that listing, it's just second nature to you. It's not a big deal. All right. So here is a property in particular, just like we said, that's $34 million. And let's see if this is the one from last week. Yes, it is. This is exactly where we left off last week. Can anybody remember what your thoughts were about this in our conversation last week and would like to share maybe a word or two? And this is the space where you learn. So don't be nervous.
Well, Miss Porter,
Hello, come on.
and I'll tell you, my first thought was when I first saw that, I said, "Wow," and then I said it backwards, "Wow." So that was very unique. And the thing that's amazing is sometimes you don't realize that there are so many properties that are out there that are over $1 million, but there's such a large market. Sometimes we think, well, who's paying $1 million or whatever for properties now? Well, there's a lot of people doing it. And there are a lot of people that's doing it cash. And one of the things I've learned is sometimes just because your pocket doesn't have a certain amount of money doesn't mean someone else's pocket doesn't. And so we have to remember that there are a lot of people out here who are willing, able, and ready to purchase these properties and to pay cash. And so once you kind of get comfortable with that and you start realizing that that's a truism, you can kind of go further. So that was all.
Thank you for sharing that, Kerman. Darlene, I see your hand is up. You can take yourself off mute.
So I don't think I was on a call last week, but I know I want to know, with your experience, how long or how many days are properties in this price point normally on the market?
That is an excellent question. And that's something that we're going to do because as we know in real estate, we do a market analysis for everything. One property's days on the market in terms of that particular subdivision, that particular property type is going to be very different. So there's no one answer across the board. So say by chance you have one property that's in North Bethesda and you have one property that's in Bowie and they're both listed at, one's listed at 5 million, one's listed at 10 million. It's going to be very different. So that will be a part of our due diligence. We do that market analysis and take a look and see exactly how long it was on the market. And we can look at that today in all of our numbers here, okay? So excellent question, because that's a part of the information that you're going to need to be familiar with, and I'll show you how to get there. All right. So I want to take us to the next listing. So this one was 34,900,000. This next one, here you go. It's 12,500,000. This one is right in Potomac. See that beautiful grand foyer? What do you guys think when you look at these images of these properties? I'll go through some of the details while you're pondering that. 6 bedrooms, 8 bathrooms, 3 half bathrooms, 11,257 square feet. See, there are 3 levels. Bradley Farms is the subdivision. 15 parking spaces. So forth and so on. We'll go to the next one. 11,500,000. This one is right in Bethesda. I want to kind of give you guys a sneak peek into my playbook for today. We started out with the $30 million listings and talking about the $50 million listings. The goal is to have you guys to break through the ice, to get past the point where you are nervous to talk about multi-million dollar listings, to talk to clients, to help clients when they're talking about selling or buying multi-million dollar listings. to expand your mindset in this regard, where you know, just like Kermon said, there are people all around us. This is only in Prince George's County and Montgomery County. So with where I am in the office, all of these properties are within 30 minutes of me. Over 344 multi-million dollar properties right here around us every single day. So what that means is, that means that we've got to retrain our mindset so that, number one, we attract people of this particular price point. And chances are, you know, people in this price point, you just don't know how much their house costs. Chances are, you know, people who are buying and who are selling. So whether they're in a social organization with you, whether they're, you know, in your family, in your circle of friends, or in your church, or where, you know, your colleagues, or whatever the case is, chances are, you know, people who are purchasing or selling these type of houses or somewhere close to that. So let's get to a point where this becomes the norm for us to have these type of conversations. All right. I want to take us to a different screen really quickly so that we can see things. Yes, Mr. Porter.
Hey, Jasmine, can I interject real quick?
Of course.
You said something interesting. You said something interesting to me, and I just want to say that it takes a certain, you know, we talk about not being private agents, right, or secret agents, right? But I also want to let you know, in order to talk to people that you might not feel comfortable with, or whatever, however Jasmine described it, multimillionaires, you have to have a certain boldness. You got to kind of be a little cocky and a little crazy to go up and look the person straight in their eyes, shake their hand, and treat them like a regular person. The number one thing that I found that people who have that kind of money want to find is somebody that they can trust. And if you don't have the boldness to represent yourself well, to come to speak eloquently, to shake their hand, look them straight in the eyes, let them know what you do, and tell them, you know, I know you probably have other realtors, but they're nothing like me. You know, you have to sell yourself with so much confidence that it exudes from you that they believe that you're going to be the best person whenever they need help moving properties. And then you have to perform. You have to actually be able to bring those properties on the market and then move them off the market rather quickly, which means you're going to have a repertoire of people that are ready, willing, and able to purchase those type of properties. But you have to place yourself in the proper situations and settings in order to meet those type of people. So I know Jasmine's going to talk about prospecting and listening, but I want to hear from you guys. Like, what are some of the places that you think you would go or you might want to be in order to meet the type of people that we're talking about?
I love the fact that you asked that
question. I'm not trying
Mr.
to divert your lesson for today, but we're in the, you know, this is a people business, right? The properties are going to be there. They are where they are. You can go drive up and see them, walk into them. You have a license. Go ahead and book one and do a preview if you can get in. Because I dare say that some of the times that you think that it's going to be as easy to access a $300,000 property as it is a $300 million property, you're gonna find out something new. But there's a different vibe altogether, and you need to experience that in order to understand the mindset and the difference between an average person that's going to buy an average size home or even a plus size home versus people who money, to them, money is not the issue. The issue is, can I trust you to do this business? Are you going to make sure? Can I make sure that you can handle the type of business that I want to do? I want to hear from you, just as a starting reference. And you talked about because we talked about prospecting initially, then we got into volunteering aspect, and that's fine. But what I want to hear you all tell me is, where might you put yourself if you want to start to find and get to know these type of people? Where are some of the low-hanging fruit places, some of the easiest things that you can do to be around those type of people? Because that's the mind expansion that you have to do. You have to come outside of your box. So I'm going to just let you guys think. Where might you want to go? What things might you want to be involved in order to find those type of people?
And Mr. Porter, I feel like you have my notes for today, although you haven't seen them. So I'm excited with all the questions that you're asking and the
I didn't see your
far.
notes. I didn't see your notes, but these are the type of things that I haven't seen your notes, but these are the type of things that we push each other on, and I would like to push you guys to expand and think about what might you want to do. But the weekend is coming up. You might be able to get involved with some of those things this weekend. Anybody, just take a stab. There's no right or wrong answer.
I would say that those
But I'm
volunteer
going to give you some
opportunities,
ideas once you share with them.
I would say those
Okay.
volunteer opportunities.
That might be one of them, and you would be right. And listen, a lot of people who have money feel guilty about the money they have, and they volunteer a lot. You're right. But what other places might you find people who besides volunteering?
At
Open
sporting
houses.
events.
Say it again.
Sporting events. I said sporting events.
Yes. Okay. What do you mean when you say a sporting event? What are you
At a
talking about?
Redskins game, like in the parking lot tailgating, they have season. What do you call them? What are they called? Season tickets.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure they are pretty penny.
All right. Yeah. That's a good idea, but I want you to come out your comfort zone, because tailgating is in the comfort zone that you're in. I want you to get uncomfortable and find out where the people that you really want to talk to are going to be.
In their neighborhoods, maybe in those neighborhoods.
Yeah. No, I'm sticking with the sporting venue. Let's go with your sporting event analogy. Where are they going to be?
Oh, they're gonna be in that. What do you call it? Skybox.
Okay, so where should you be?
I should be
Well,
hanging out. I should be with Mrs. Porter trying to get in the box.
I'm asking you, where should you be?
I should be with somebody that knows somebody that can get in the
skybox.
Right?
Yeah, you know somebody. It's called American Express, Visa, MasterCard. No, you buy a ticket to the skybox. You're going to have to invest in yourself, invest in your business.
Get it.
You have to take those type of risks to be in the skybox area.
That's on that American Express
Platinum.
Platinum.
Talk about this important.
Mm-hmm.
No, you can do it with any American Express. You just got to pay it back. The point I'm trying to make is that if it's an investment in you, an investment in your business, then you might have to take that opportunity and make that investment so that you can be in those spaces where those type of people are going to be. That's my point. That's what I was trying to get into. It doesn't much. Jasmine will show you all of the free ways that you can get into these things. But the truth of the matter is, a lot of times we're investing in certain things so that we can sit in the lounges, so that we can go to the skyboxes, so that we can be in certain sections, so that we can make those connections with certain people. You follow what I'm saying? It's an opportunity, and you're not just going to enjoy the game. You're actually going to make conversations. You're actually going to hear what people are talking about, and hope somebody mentions something that you're in the realm of, or start talking about business or politics or anything like that, where you can insinuate yourself and introduce yourself, and then you have a new friend and just talk about. And 9 times out of 10, they don't want to talk about business. They just want to talk about their life. So you have to place yourself in those positions, but then at the same time that you're in those positions, you begin to let the people know kind of what you do and who you are. But most importantly, you want to just be able to make a connection with them. We met just sitting in one of those skyboxes. We met a guy who the father was a lawyer. I mean, the son was a lawyer, and the father was a doctor, and then you just have conversations with them. You just talk about the food. But then you exchange contacts at the end. That's how it happens. Or you sign up to be, to go to the private jet shows, and that's the only place where they sell Rolls Royces. And then on the Rolls Royce day, you show up at the private jet place and you walk on the tarmac. Or you get to know somebody who works in those places and let them know, hey, when they have these events, I would like for you to let me know so I can show up. And you pass out your card. And you talk to people after you get to know them because they want to establish relationships. That's why a lot of deals happen on the golf courses. Some of you need to go learn how to play some golf. I'm sorry, Dad. I messed up your whole presentation. Let me be quiet. I'm sorry. I went too far.
You know,
That's
that
all
was
I wanted
wonderful.
to say, guys.
That was wonderful and insightful, and you can continue if you would like.
Ms. Porter,
Yes.
Okay.
I just
Go ahead,
sorry.
Kermon.
Well, I just want to interject a couple of things
Go
because
ahead.
I am a season ticket holder for the Commanders game, and Mr. Porter is exactly correct. You meet a lot of people, and the better your seats are, the better the clientele that you will meet. You can be there and kind of hang out by the elevators. They go all the way up to the skyboxes. So if you can't even get up to the skybox, you can see the people as they're coming out, and you're just mingling, and they think that you have a ticket, have a spot up there, and people start talking, and especially if they see you more than one time. The other thing that I've noticed is that when you go out to some of these areas, they have different places where they're like galleries where you can just go in and just see, paintings, and they have wine tasting things, and they have all these different events in these areas. You go to some of the higher end restaurants, you might just be going in there to just get a quick sandwich or an appetizer or whatever, but you start seeing people, you can strike up a conversation with people. And I think that's how you kind of get to meet people in the area. So you put yourself in the area, you go to the places that people who have that type of financial wherewithal, you go where they go. You go where they go, they see you, you just strike up a conversation, and you let it go from there. But I will say that you can meet people with means anywhere, but you just have to be prepared to strike up a conversation and to let people know what you do. So one of the things that we're doing, and my wife and I, is we've been going to different places for brunch on Sundays. And we'll go all the way out to Potomac, Maryland. We'll go just trying to get out of our comfort zone. We'll go all the way out because we have a couple of businesses, and we meet and talk to people and share. People really love to talk over food. They love to talk over drinks. So that kind of works. That's starting to work for us.
Excellent contribution, Kermon. Mr. Porter, you were going to say something else before Kermon began?
Well, Kermon, I mean, you on point. What I want to say to my lovely family members at Porterhouse, guys, it takes money to make money sometimes. And when you want to get into that space, you really have to invest in yourself. And you got to do some things you probably never thought of doing before. You guys know we love to travel. But we don't necessarily, when we travel, we don't, and I'm not saying it's a brag or boast, I'm telling you this is intentional. We had to figure out ways to get into those lounges. We used to see the lounges and people going up in the lounges all the time. We knew that they were flying business class or first class. So we had to make the stretch one day and pay for that business class and first class ticket. When we travel business, we travel business class. When we travel in private or a personal, or for our personal nature, we're traveling first class. Our next step is the PJs. We want to get into the private jet space. How are we going to do that? There's all kind of ways to do it. You got to do your research to get in there. Once you're in there, though, that's when you access people. You access a pilot. That pilot flies for several different people who have jets. So now he's telling you about, this person's going through a divorce. You might want to call Dave. Tell Dave you met his pilot when you were here. Hey, Dave, how you doing? This is Shay. What's happening, man? Man, so I was talking to the pilot, and he said that you might need my services soon. Just give me a call. My wife owns a brokerage. I'm close connected with a person who owns a brokerage. We can take care of you. Don't worry about it. We'll take care of your estates and assets. Get your lawyer to write up. Give us a call back, and you talk to them like they're regular people, because that's what they're looking for. If you're intimidated by their money, they already know. You send energy out to them. They'll know it immediately. You've never worked with somebody like me. Your idiosyncrasies are off. I don't want to go into too much detail, but Caramon and I are working on a deal, or with a person that's a multimillionaire, but some of their idiosyncrasies was off to me from what I know about all of the people that I work with who have money. Now, they did exhibit some of those traits, which lended me to believe that they were able to perform, but then there were some other things that were kind of off, and I said, Caramon, we're going to have to do some more digging. I don't know about this, but I do believe that, but we have, it was so many things, because I'm putting myself in those spaces, because this is real. There are so many people out here who have money that your mind would just boggles your mind. Oh, I made 11.8 last year, but I owe 2.8 in taxes. And you meet those people and just listen to them talk. They love talking about their problems and what they're doing and how they're going to fix it and how many units they have and what's the next step. And then you say, listen, hey man, I got to get involved in that. You sound like you know what you're doing. How can I get involved? Don't leave me hanging. Well, I just met you. Let's get to know each other. Let's hang out. Okay, fine. You might have to learn how to ski. you got to put yourself. You got to come out your comfort zones and get into their comfort zones. The places that they like to go is where other people are not going to go, where they're not going to be bothered and distracted too much. So you might have to pay for the upgrade to the 5-star experience if you go somewhere. You might have to pay for that. And I don't call it paying. I'm investing. I'm investing with those people. You might have to bite the bullet. I love when Kevin Hart said, when he said, I don't have that kind of money. He said, my money comes to my card on a certain day. He was talking about back in the day. Now he has that kind of money because he placed himself around those type of people as a comedian. But he's a good comedian. That's a whole other thing. My point is, you start to experience people where you really don't have that kind of money, and they don't care if you had that kind of money. They care about who you are as a person. And if they see that you're sincere, and not only sincere, that you can handle the business and you have a strategy to close a deal, they're good. They'll hand you all of their money at once and say, make it happen. Call me on my birthday when it's done. Am I right or wrong, Caramon?
I can say you're right.
Absolutely.
Okay. Caramon should have said it. Yeah, he took too long. He took too long. It's too late. You missed the effect. No,
I was trying to unmute myself.
Yeah, but guys, you really have to. And Jasmine, I love what you're doing, but I really want you to, I want my people to know that you know people, and sometimes you don't know people, but if you listen to them talking long enough, they have something, and sometimes they have money and don't know what to do with it. And you just have to put a bug in there and say, you need to buy property. You just got this big old settlement. You need to buy some property right away. I don't know how to do it. I never did it before. It's not a problem. I'm going to make it easy for you. How about you meet me in my office tomorrow morning? You all have offices. Just cut to the chase and close the deal, guys. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. Once you sign that buyer representative agency or exclusive right to sell agreement, you represent that person in the transaction of that deal. Now you can say, hey, give me your financial advisor's number. When do you want to move? Do you want to buy? Do you want the furniture that's existing in the property? Do you want me to add that to as a separate attachment after we do the property, the real property? We can do the personal property. I'll take care of that for you. Do you need me? Or I'll help. I'll facilitate it. I'll get a mover, or I'll get. You have antiques in your house. Do you want me to have those packed and shipped for you? I'll have somebody take care of that. That's going to cost XYZ amount of dollars. These are the things that they want. They just want to pay the money and know it's done. So they don't have a problem with money. It's you that has a problem with it. You're afraid of it. Give it. Let's do it. Let's make this deal happen. If you're afraid, call me. Call Jasmine. And many of you are wise enough when you get these kind of deals to do so. And we'll step right in and we'll close. We'll get to the bottom of every situation. We're gonna figure it out. If the people have the ability or not, we're gonna find out whether they are talking big or they really big talkers. And there's a difference. So that's all I want to say, Jasmine. I'll entertain any questions that you guys have, but I have tons of ideas of how you can introduce yourself. But you guys have to think about how can I invest in myself so that I can get into the spaces where these people are. And you're going to meet some people that are not so nice in these spaces. Let me just say that to you right now. And that's okay. You have to be able to still befriend those people too. And some of those people need somebody who they can talk to about the things that bother them that they want to talk about. And you have to be amenable to that kind of conversation because they might say, I would have never done a deal with a person like you before, but it's something about you. I'm just going to go ahead and move forward here. When you meet the grandson of whose last name is Hughes and find out his granddad is the person they named Hughesville after because he bought up all the land, his grandson is still buying up all the land, and you got some land to sell, I think you should call David Hughes. When you have a multi-million-dollar property and you have an investor that they don't look at anything that's under $2 or $3 million, I think you might want to call them when you get a $2 or $3 million property that you want to get rid of real fast. Because you get the selling side, you get the buying side, and then you give them an agreement that says once you renovate, fix up, or whatever you decide to do, give me the listing and I'll list it for you. Now you have a multi-million-dollar listing. Yes, you're going to work a little bit harder, but I guarantee you it's worth it. Caramon will tell you, when it comes down to it, when those people show up, I'll get suited and booted, I'll get the car cleaned up, and I might even chauffeur them around. I ain't telling you all to do it. I'm saying that's what I do. Jasmine will tell you the same thing. We had a VIP client that we sold 2 of their multi-million-dollar properties for, and then helped them purchase one.
It was a 4-part transaction. Sold 3 of their houses.
Yeah, I knew it was another. I knew it was
one.
another one. I needed to fix it. Yeah, you absolutely right. I forgot about that's right. I told Caramon the story wrong. You're right. It was 4 properties. But the point I'm trying to make, guys, is once you get into those spaces, trust me, they're just people. And they're just like you and me, and money does not solve problems, solve all their problems or make their life better. In fact, you're going to find that you're going to be doing a lot of counseling and hand-holding and reassurance work to get them to move forward. But as long as you can do some of those things, and you have to mind your business too, because they a little bit different than we are. So they have to be able to trust that when they share something with you, hey, that's between us. Because once they resolve it, guess what? They come back to the drawing board and they're ready to rock and roll. And they're ready to rock and roll with you because they trusted you and they shared some things with you that they probably wouldn't have shared with anybody else. You kept it confidential, and then you were still ready to do business at the end of the day. It's a different mentality altogether. But you really have to get in those spaces, and you have to be ready, and you have to look the part. And guess what? I'm going to tell you something, guys. I don't know what it is about Adidas sweatsuits, but when you in certain places, you put on an Adidas sweatsuit, they just assume you just like them because they got an Adidas sweatsuit on too. I don't know what it is about that, but you might have noticed, Jasmine, I started buying Adidas stuff. We picked up on something. We said, this is weird, this is strange. But these people seem to like Adidas. Now, I don't know if they're affiliated with Adidas or not. We're not, maybe that's something we should look into, Jasmine, because we paying for our stuff. But it's something about it that signals to them that, hey, I want to talk to that guy. You might notice that my jewelry, I wear jewelry on purpose, like certain gaudy jewelry. And the reason why is because rich people want to know that they're the richest person in the room. And I don't want to intimidate them to make them think that I'm richer than they are. So I put on my jewelry. Because rich people don't wear jewelry. They might put on a nice watch. That might be it. They don't wear rings. They don't wear necklaces, chains. That's the rappers. They got money too. They'll buy a house and then they might lose it. And you be there to sell it for them. But I'm talking about the wealthy people. They don't wear their jewelry. They dress pretty. Some of them don't even dress that well. But you can pick them out once you start to know that type of people. That's all I'm going to say. It's not the person that you think. The person that you think, that might be the person that's barely there. He's barely in the room. The person that's looking a little beleaguered and haggard, got the long, dirty beard, that's the one that's wealthy. Jasmine will tell you about the guy, and I got to tell you his testimony real quick. He used to be at the Starbucks and this was back when we used to have to meet people at the Starbucks and get them to sign the documents so we can take their offer. And I met one of our investor friends over at the Starbucks, and she signed the documents, and I used to always see the guy, and I used to hand him, a little bit of money to help him out a little bit. And he would always tell me, man, you don't know. I own a lot of stuff, and once I get back on my feet, I'm going to remember you. I'm going to remember you. I'm going to remember you. You remember that guy, Jasmine?
I do.
I can't remember his name right now. Yeah.
Mr. Mike,
but
right?
Sure enough, a few years later, Mr. Mike. Sure enough, a few years later, I'm at a different Starbucks altogether because I hadn't seen Mr. Mike in some years. And he walks up to me and he's dressed to the nines. And I got my life back. Said, man, you're not going to believe what happened. I've been restored. I got everything they used to talk to me about, everything I prayed for. He said, I'm going to remember you. He said, I'm going to do some business with you. He said, you helped me when I was down. Nobody else would talk to me. That's what you don't know. That you place yourself in certain spaces intentionally just to have conversations with people. Just to shake hands. Because at the end of the day, if you're kind enough and you're cool enough and you don't bug them, you don't have to talk a hole in their head like I'm doing you all right now. But at the end of the day, if they see that you're kind enough and you're cool enough, before you get off the plane or before you leave the lounge, say, hey man, let me get your card. I don't have a card. Well, here, let me take your number down real quick. I said, I love to continue to have this conversation. And one thing leads to another. And then you have a portfolio of people who are in very prominent positions financially that will remember to call you. And you reach out to them from time to time. Just say, hey, man, how you been? Just checking in with you. You know, how's everything going with Amy? Did she finish school? You know, did she get out of counseling? You know, you just checking in with people. Yeah, man, but I got something else I wanted to bring to your attention. I'm glad you called me. I have a partner that has some offices and you want to get rid of the buildings. Okay, can you handle that? Yeah, I got a person that does that. Don't worry about it. I can't do it, but I'll refer it. I'm sorry, Dad. I messed up your whole train. Forgive me, y'all. I went off on the deep end. God bless y'all. I'm going to let Jasmine take over.
Mr. Porter, that was perfect. And that is the majority of our time, I promise you. I feel like you were talking from my notes, and I hope that you guys take hold of what you heard Mr. Porter sharing today and all the contribution that we've had in this conversation thus far, because it gets even better. But the biggest piece for you guys today is to shift your mindset, level up in our thinking as it pertains to multi-million-dollar properties, as it pertains to servicing millionaires. Like Mr. Porter said, and like we already know, they're looking for somebody that they know, like, and trust. So you've got to put yourself in those spaces where you can get to know them. You're already likable. I think that we have some of the best people in the world here in Porterhouse. So you guys have beautiful personalities. Allow them to shine. And then the trust factor that comes with you doing the due diligence to make sure that you are a competent professional and you're able to assist them. So we've gone through quite a number of spaces that you can position yourself in so as to be in the same room to rub elbows with these people. And there are so many other opportunities. Like Mr. Porter said, you're going to invest in yourselves. And there are quite a number of free opportunities or opportunities that are of little expense as well. So we will talk about each one of them. But before we leave, I'm going to ask you guys a question, because I've been very intentional while Mr. Porter was sharing to show you some things on the screen and to continue to go from page to page. So as we talk about locations and positioning yourselves within this market in locations where these people are going to be, I want to ask you what you notice about the screen. I'm just going to click on a couple of pages. And if you've been paying attention to the screen at all, I'm going to ask you if you see a common theme. And I want somebody to take yourself off of mute. And the context is location.
Bethesda,
And what we
Maryland.
have in front of us, I'm so happy somebody's watching.
Bethesda,
So
Maryland.
there you are. So these are properties, 344 that are right here in Prince George's County and Montgomery County. All of these are within 30 minutes of your main office. Okay. With that being said, you're surrounded by multi-million-dollar properties. So let me ask you, what do we have in Bethesda, Maryland, Kermon?
Well, first of all, the first thing I notice is that they're all detached. They're single family homes. Most of them are in the $2 million range in Bethesda, Maryland. The other thing, and I was looking at something, I had something in my mind and it left me. But basically,
it's okay. That was perfect. That was
Yeah.
perfect right there, because I'm going to ask another question as it pertains to Bethesda, Maryland. So I want somebody to tell me, what does Porterhouse have in Bethesda, Maryland?
An office.
The office.
Where is that office? It's in North Bethesda, guys. You have a North Bethesda office right there. And do you see that that office is surrounded by multi-million-dollar listings? These are active ones, right? We haven't even gone to the sold ones just yet, but these are active. You have multi-million-dollar listings all around the place. Do you think that that was a strategic move for us to put a Porterhouse right in North Bethesda? That was intentional to give you guys those opportunities to be put in those places where you can have those conversations. Go to those Starbucks, go to those high-end restaurants, go to various vicinities that offer some type of luxury products or services within the area that your office is in. Mr. Porter, I see that you unmuted yourself. Did you have something briefly for us?
Yeah, you need to go you need to go adopt a dog, and you need to go to the dog parks in Bethesda.
I promise you, he is on my notes.
Let your dog pay your bill. I'm sorry.
Mr. Porter is on my notes right there. Dog park. You are on my notes, Mr. Porter. So up there, exactly where the office is, there's a dog park up there within walking distance of your office. So when we talk about opportunities for prospecting, those are the type of things that we want you guys to consider, and strategically placing yourselves within vicinities where you're surrounded by multi-million-dollar listings, because if you're surrounded by multi-million-dollar listings, then by default, you're surrounded by multi-million-dollar buyers and sellers. So if you're having conversations with people in a dog park and you're in North Bethesda, chances are those are people with the potential to purchase and sell multi-million-dollar properties. So if this is the goal, and it is, then would it make more sense if it's going to take me the exact same level of effort to sell a $3 million listing as it would to sell a $300,000 listing, and all I'm doing is simply positioning myself strategically to be around a pool of people within this price range? Mr. Porter, I hear you. You unmuted yourself. What did you have?
You got. I'm trying to teach him some little buzz terms. I said
Okay.
it. I'm gonna say it again. If you do get a pet, you want it to be a rescue animal or an adopted pet. You don't want to be in there.
Yes.
Yeah, I paid $3,000 for this. Yeah, you don't want it. No, that's not good. They're gonna look at you like you're crazy, like you got a big old green horn sticking out your head. They rescue pets. They have adopted pets. You have to go and have conversations with the kind and caliber of people so that you know what's important to them. And then you have to have a way to relate to those people because they don't know you and you're trying to build a relationship. Okay, you're trying to build a relationship and a rapport. And it's kind of that simple. It's really that simple. They really just want, hey, I met this guy at the dog park. And he just happens to, do real estate. He just happen to have a property. So it's all happenstance to them, and that's fine. But you have to be intentional. Well, we bumped into these people up at the American Express Lounge, or the American Airline Lounge. We were in the, whatever, we were at the golf course, or we were, and this guy, he didn't even want to talk about real estate. I was trying to get him to answer some questions the whole time. He told me I had to call him on Tuesday. He doesn't answer questions on Wednesday about real estate. So I'm waiting on Tuesday to call him. You have to set yourself up so that you become to them someone who they can trust. They know you're competent. And if you're not competent, don't be intimidated. This is your buzzword. These are your terms. If they ask you anything about something and you don't know, you say, hey, that's not really my area of expertise. I get them on the market and I get them off the market. Let me call XYZ person. Or I'll get back to you with that. But that's not my area of expertise. And that's okay. You say it like that and you move on. You know what you do and you do what you know. You don't have to have all the answers, and that's why most people are intimidated. That's why most people are intimidated to do these type of deals.
So to help you guys to get over the intimidation. Go ahead, Mr. Porter. Apologies.
No, I was going to say that Jasmine, you need to teach. Jasmine taught me. You need to know what a Cofer ceiling is. You need to know Chevalier chairs. You need to know. What lattice work is. You need to know what custom framings are. You need to know what type of molding there is. You need to know the difference between the Ionic column and the Doric column and the Corinthian column. You need to start to study your craft when you start to talk to these people because they like to talk with specificity. They're not talking standard talk, and that's what you're intimidated by. But if you know a few things, and even when I go into a home and I might not be brushed up on my terminology, I'm calling Jasmine Porter, like I tell you all to do. And I'm going to say, hey, Jasmine Porter, I need you to meet me at XYZ House because they have some interior designs, and I don't know what that stuff is called, but I'm going to write down everything you say. I'm going to listen to you. I'm going to record it. And she'll go up there and she'll point and say, do you notice the intricacies of the lattice work here? And did you notice that they have piping over here? And I'm just writing everything down because you might not know that information, but that's okay. You just know the person. You relate to the person. And if they have questions, and sometimes we're going to give them more information just so that they don't ask questions. So it's a strategy, it's a mindset, but You have to break out of it. And trust me, guys, listen, you'll be in touch with kings, princesses, and you won't call them princess or prince or anything. You'll call them Gary. Hey, Gary. Hey, what's up, Porter? What's going on? How's it going? I'm good. Listen, let's get this property off the market. It's been on the market too long. Let's lower the price. Geez, how much? It's nothing to you.
Hey, hey,
Talk to
Shay.
them like they're people.
Hey, Shay.
Go ahead.
Real quick, I just want to throw out there to everybody, a real easy way to start to get your lingo and understanding more higher end properties is to just go out, buy yourself a Rob Report and buy yourself a AD, an architectural design magazine. If you want to, get a subscription for it. But and then, throughout the day, the week, you just have it at home and you just read through it. You look through it, you're going to see the Wolfgang appliances because they advertise in these higher end, these design high-end magazines, so that then when you're having a conversation and somebody does say Wolfgang, you know exactly the appliance company brand that they're talking about, so it's just starting to get yourself familiar with different terminology, different design, because all of that stuff, like Shay's saying, they brag about their stove. You know what I mean? But their stove isn't a Maytag stove that you got at Lowe's for like, $200. Their stove costs 10 grand. But to know the stove, that right there just
and they have
yeah.
And they have a refrigerator to match.
Exactly. The whole set. I mean, I think it was Nas's ex-wife Khalees. She got some special customized stove from France. It was over 100 grand for the stove. So but getting these materials, on your Instagram feed, or like starting to follow billionaire pages and these high-end jet, private jet pages and posts, and seeing it and looking at it. And this is the stuff that they look at because they're actually looking to buy that, where you're just trying to start to get your head and mindset wrapped around. It's a whole nother world out here. There's people out here with some money, a lot of money. And if you want to work with them, you're going to have to invest in yourself. Are you investing in a mastermind group? Are you taking other trainings for your own self that now get you in these rooms that you may not be the millionaire yet, but now you're around millionaires, but you're gonna have to pay to play. You have to invest in yourself. You have to do that kind of thing. What groups, organizations are you involved with, that are typically going to be associated with people that have a higher net worth? Get yourself in these rooms, get yourself in these environments. And now they see you as just Curtis, So you got to invest in yourself, got to read, you got to you got, if you want to play this game, you got to take yourself out of that comfort zone and start to elevate your mindset, your thinking, like somebody worth 10 million, 20 million, So that's all I wanted to just chime in.
Great contribution there, Curtis.
I'm gonna say two things I want to say, Jasmine. I'm gonna shut up. Curtis is on point. You want to subscribe to things that you can't afford right now. Put it that way. If you want to just subscribe to be on the next jet membership list, or the XO jet membership list, or signature private jet portal list, you want to subscribe to Wolfgang appliances. You want to subscribe to I'm just going to just making those subscriptions. Now you don't have to get the magazine, but just be on their email list, so that when they have something that pops up, You can see private car. You know, when you know they don't catch Ubers, it's a private car. You want to be on the list, so that they'll tell you what specials they're having and when. You know, you can tell when things are happening because you'll start to get sales for those things. And the other thing, he said something else that was so good, and I wanted to get that. I didn't want to forget, but I just forgot, guys. I definitely look at things that you can subscribe to. Google Private Jet, and then subscribe to some of those. You'll find out the names of things that you've never even heard of before. Rolls Royce subscription. Things of that nature. But it was something else you said, Curtis.